Today, we're talking picture profiles. So I feel like every time Sony releases a new camera, one of the major things we talk about is the picture profiles, and rightfully so. What we most want out of our cameras is to get the best image possible. So when I got my hands on the Sony A7S III at the beginning of the year, like many other people, I jumped onto YouTube and watched many videos about the picture profiles. And there are some incredible videos about them, talking about them, going into quite a bit of detail. But I couldn't find anything that really showed them in a way that I like to shoot and a head-to-head comparison. Now, just a quick backstory. When I first started shooting with Sony, I was using the A6300, the crop frame sensor, and the picture profile that I landed on and used the most was Cine 4. And then when I jumped over to the A7 III, my first full frame camera, like a lot of people, I ended up using HLG3, and I was super happy with it. And I still use that today as my secondary camera, and I love the picture that I get out of that. It's quite easy to work with, gives you a little bit of room for color grading. With this new camera, I really wanted to make sure I took advantage of all that it had to offer. So I wanted to dive into using S-Log a little bit more. So between the HLG, which I have used a lot and I've loved, and S-Log3, I really wanted to put those head-to-head to see what that would be like if there was a lot more work with the S-Log footage or not. And what you don't know is the sequence that you just watched was actually a mix of HLG3 and the S-Log3. Let's play that sequence back so you can take a better look now that you know there's both. I've labeled which sequence was what, and then I also did a little head-to-head so that you can kind of see how they matched up. And if you do take a close look at it, you'll see that the S-Log footage does a little bit of a better job retaining some of the highlights. Now, when we went out to the mountains, I wanted to pick a day that gave us a lot of difficult lighting situations, but the light was actually quite flat. So I'm not sure if this was the best situation, but I still think it gives you a pretty good idea. Now, at the very end, I did sneak in a third picture profile that I wanted to check out, and you'll see that too. So let's have a look. Okay, so there was a third picture profile that I wanted to quickly test out, and that is picture profile off with creative style standard. And that's what you're seeing right now. We are just out on a frozen lake. There is a nice mountain in the background. The sun is starting to set. I got the exposure at a nice level. So this is what that looks like.
And next, I'm going to jump into HLG to see if that makes a difference. And then we'll go into S-Log. So HLG coming up right now. All right, so now we are in HLG picture profile. This is HLG3. Same as we were looking at before with the footage before, and I just wanted to see what this looks like. And I guess the reason why I'm comparing these is a lot of people are using picture profile off for vlogging situations because the color looks good straight out of camera and you don't have to do a lot of work in post for color grading, so that might be helpful. So I guess we're just looking to see if the dynamic range looks the same. The sun's in the back again, we're in the same spot. Exposure's at a good level. And I guess we'll look at this footage right now. And then finally, we will go to S-Log. I guess I was hoping for a little bit more bright sunset and us sort of in the shadows to see how much the picture profile off would be affected by that, because right now the image is flat anyway, so I think all three picture profiles will work fine. But anyways, let's jump into S-Log3 now. All right, so now we're in S-Log3. Let's see if that looks any different. Does it look the same? Does it look better? Does it look worse? I don't know. Maybe I'll play with the color grading to see how much colors I can pull out of all three profiles. I don't know what's better. I hope that they all look great. I hope that picture profile off looks great, and I can just use it for the quick vlogging situations. But now we're gonna head back. I'm gonna dump all the footage that I shot from earlier into the computer, which you've already seen. So hopefully it looks good. And hopefully I've learned something today about the profiles that I want to use, and hopefully it's helped you and given you some information. But I guess we'll head back. I'll start editing this footage and then I will jump back on the camera and give you my thoughts.
So what did you think? Now, what's interesting is while I was making this video, Sony went ahead and dropped some major announcements, and one of them being S-Cinetone. I think that's a picture profile that many people wanted because they talked about how amazing and how great it was, but also so that you could match it up to some of their cinema line cameras, since they released the FX3, which is essentially the Sony A7 III in a different body. Now, when that got dropped, I knew that I had to test that out as well, because if there's a picture profile out there that is beautiful straight out of camera, then I think that would save me and a lot of other people a lot of time in certain situations. So went back out to the mountains and shot another quick little sequence. Again, for some reason, we were unlucky and the light was pretty flat. We tried to do a golden hour, but we missed it just by a little bit. Anyways, have a look. It'll be HLG and then S-Log3 and then S-Cinetone. So, what did you think? Did you like S-Cinetone better than the other two? What are your thoughts? Which one did you like best? Right off the bat, I noticed that S-Cinetone is super contrasty. And at first, when I was looking at it through the camera, I thought the highlights were blown out quite a bit. But then when I looked at it in the computer, if you just did a little bit of an exposure correction. You could bring them back down and then even pop some of the shadows. And I ended up really loving the way that looks straight out of camera. So in conclusion, I guess we looked at 4 different profiles today. So I'll go through that and give you my thoughts, and then hopefully that'll help you have a better understanding of which ones you might want to try or might want to use. So I think with the picture profile off with the custom settings, thanks to Brandon Lee for those settings, and S-Cinetone, I'll probably end up using that quite a bit for stuff like this, some talking head and some vlogs type stuff. And if you didn't know, I've been shooting all this A-roll in the S-Cinetone. And then I think I'll use S-Log for some of the more cinematic sequences that I want to shoot, or maybe even some client work. Any situation where there needs to be a lot of flexibility in the color grade, or if there's some challenging highlights. I will say I've used S-Log for a client shoot already, and I did find that in some of the more low light situations, the shadows can get a little more noisy than HLG3. I didn't have S-Cinetone at the time, so I was just shooting in HLG and S-Log, and I did find the shadows to be a little bit noisy. And maybe that's me being someone who is new to S-Log footage, but I will do some more testing with that. And as far as HLG goes, I think I'll use that when I'm trying to match up to the A7 III more often, as I think those match up quite well, and I have used them together as well. HLG is really great, and I love the picture that comes out of it. It gives you enough flexibility to color grade, as it doesn't fully bake in any color. All right, so if you found this video helpful and got some value out of it, I would love for you to subscribe. It would really help out the channel a lot, and I would really appreciate it. As well, if you want to see me make a video testing these profiles in more of a low light situation, I was planning to do that. Give this video a like and let me know that you want to see that video. Comment below, let me know which profile you like the best, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.